Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN. Got Taylor Sharp and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and lots to get to over the next couple of hours. Derek Carr is reviewing cars. We'll talk about that in 15 minutes. Colin Hurley back at LSU football practice. What does that mean for the quarterback room? We'll have Glenn West at 1:30. Sharif Jaishak talking some Saints, but probably talking some Pels. There's been a lot of news over the last 48 hours in Pels land, so we'll chat with Sharif about that. And LSU and McNeese in an interesting matchup in the midweek tonight. McNeese off to their best start in program history. They have won 12 games in a row. That is the nation's longest winning streak. And LSU has lost 3 in a row, so we'll see if we can preview that one at the top of hour number 2. Let's get things kick-started the way we do it every day. That's with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So we got an opportunity to head out and watch a little bit more LSU football practice today. Got to watch for about an hour. They've continued to move us around. I know that y'all don't care about this as much, but just for some perspective as I go into practice, like for 10 years, when I was watching practice, we would go in and we would walk the fence that gave us access to 2 fields, and you could pretty much see just about everything. Then this past year, they built the new facility with the new lounge, and there's a balcony up there, so they put us up there. And while you are a little bit far away, and they do have a bunch of players that have their jerseys rolled up, like you can see kind of everything. Well, today, and as of I think last week when I wasn't out there, we were downfield level, but kind of pinned in. It's not a great viewing vantage point. Like there's a lot you can't see. I can tell you everything the offensive line did today because they're 12 yards away. The DBs, 75 yards away on 2 fields over. That's tough sell. The entire defense was a field and a half over today. So it's not the best vantage point. I know that you don't have any violins out there singing the saddest song for me, but that's a perspective of what we're looking at here. So I did a lot of big picture observing today as opposed to kind of like individual things or rotations, that kind of stuff. And so I think of significance to start were 2 guys that returned to practice. Colin Hurley was a participant with the quarterbacks. He was able to do some one-on-one stuff, was able to throw the ball a good bit. That was great to see. You know that Colin Hurley had that single car accident back in January. He was found unresponsive and returned to Jacksonville to recover. He rejoined the team at the end of last week, was in street clothes at the open practice on Saturday. He had a helmet on today, was going through practice. That's great to see for him, certainly. Jacobian Guillory, we saw him doing some things last week, working out with the team. He had the pads on today, and he was participating today. Now, I saw him do more as a dummy offensive lineman, catching the defensive lineman in some pass rush things, as opposed to going full speed. But, he didn't have a no-contact jersey on. He was out there, and he was participating. I wouldn't call him a full participant, but I would say that he was out there practicing, and that's a great thing to see as well. He's 7 months removed from that Achilles injury. I think he's a big piece to what LSU needs on defense in the 2025 season. I think there's a high upside for Ahmad Bro. I think there's a high upside for Dominic McKinley. I think there's a high floor for Jacobian Guillory to come in and be a guy that gives you some veteran presence, some experience at defensive tackle, and just gives you a ton of strength and a wide load to try to move out of the way. So great to see all of those developments over the course of the last couple of days. Another guy that I don't think we've talked about a lot in this spring period has been Nick Anderson. I was a little bit surprised that when they started spring that he was not working with the ones and twos, that he was really, really, really being eased in to the workouts. I know that he missed all of 2024 at Oklahoma, save one game. And it's an injury that just kind of lingered. And we talked to an Oklahoma beat writer on the air, and the Oklahoma beat writer said, yeah, they thought it was kind of a hip, and they said it was a quad, and he just never healed. He never got back out there. And it was a bit of a mystery to the Oklahoma beat writers, and I think that's reasonable. A lot of coaches hide medical information. But what was he going to be like, 3 months later after he transferred coming into LSU? And he wasn't all that much of a participant. But as spring practice has gone on, he's participated more. He took the non-contact jersey off. And today he was running around with just a big wrap on his quad hamstring area. And I'm not even sure what the injury is, but he had a big wrap on. But he was going through the drills. He was participating. He got a little bit gimpy at one point, but I think that was just one rep that he tweaked something, and it wasn't necessarily serious at all. But he's been out there. And Brian Kelly was asked today about Nick Anderson and kind of what his progression has been in his first spring in Baton Rouge.
I think he was a little slowed by an injury that was lingering. We just wanted to be patient with him. Nick's a smart kid. He knows his body. He's not a guy that you have to push and say, hey, get out there. When he's ready, he's going to go compete. I think he just has a maturity about him that you don't have to worry about. And as he's gotten healthy, you can see the kind of presence that he has. He's big, he's physical, he's athletic. I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to win some key one-on-one matchups for us with his physicality, in particular some of those one-on-one key third down matchups that you need. So it's nice to see him rounding into form as we get late here into spring practice.
I think Nick Anderson gives LSU something they don't otherwise have. And I said the exact same thing with Chris Hilton, and I mean it. I think Chris Hilton is an elite straight-line speed guy who's got a chance to emerge as a real potent threat in this LSU offense, but he's 6'1". I think that Aaron Anderson and Xavion Thomas are electric playmakers with the ball in their hands. We've seen Xavion Thomas working out of the backfield a good bit. Aaron Anderson looks healthy, and he looks really, really quick. That's awesome. I think Berrien Brown has elite straight-line speed and huge playmaking ability. But none of those guys is 6'3" and has the physical presence that Nick Anderson does. And you heard Brian Kelly allude to that. And I think Nick Anderson being healthy adds a dimension to the LSU offense. It creates a matchup on the field that no one else creates in this LSU huddle. And so I think it's important that he's ready to go in the fall. I don't think it's important that he's ready to go in the spring. So the fact that he has not been a full go for this entire 5-week span is not massively concerning. Now, you pair that with the fact that it did linger all the way from September through Christmas, and you realize that you're knocking on the door of 10 months where he hasn't been a fully functional football player. There's something to that being concerning, but the fact that he's out there and is going through some workouts, is getting some work in, is showing the coaches some of what he can do, I think is certainly a step in the right direction. Just got to see what the summer months hold. I thought the play of the day for LSU today in the limited 11-on-11 that we got to see, they were doing a lot of work in the running game, and then they ran a play that involved it was really slow developing. There was a play action element of Garrett Nussmeier in the backfield. He drops back, and Chris Hilton had gone from being lined up on the right side of the offensive formation, and he had run an over route all the way to the left pylon, so all the way across the field. And Garrett Nussmeier did a play action fake, lobbed it over the top, and Hilton made just a gorgeous over-the-shoulder catch for what would have been about a 35-yard gain. Now, I'll tell you, we always watch those catches in the game that get reviewed in slow motion where they over-the-shoulder it and they dive to the ground, and sometimes the tip of the ball hits the ground. We only got to see this. It's practice. They don't have any cameras out there that we're looking at. We get no slow motion. But it was one of those where I saw it and I went, that one probably gets reviewed, and I don't know if he caught it or not. It's way too fast for me to tell. Help the officials. But I think he caught it. Either way, the official said he caught it. It was a great play design. It was great execution. It was a great throw. It was an athletic catch. It all looked really good. If it would have been called back, we'll worry about that at another day. But I thought that was a really good play. And then, as we've talked about a lot and just mentioned previously, there was a big play in the run game where LSU got the ball to Xavion Thomas on a bit of a counter look, and he was cutted back the other way in a little misdirection, and he busted it, and it was going to be, I think, a pretty big play. That's going to be in LSU's offense. You are right to feel a little bit concerned about LSU's running back depth when you look out there, and Caden Durham's rolled his ankle, so he's in a boot, and Caleb Jackson is your starter, and Harlem Berry is second, and JT Lindsey hasn't enrolled yet, and Trey Holly is not with the team. So the depth at running back is very, very short. Now, you very much assume that Caden Durham is going to return. He's going to be your lead back, and you know that JT Lindsey's going to enroll, and we'll see what happens with Trey Holly. I don't know. But you're going to get some depth back, but I still think that Xavion Thomas is going to be involved in LSU's running game in a limited capacity. He's not going to be a featured guy. They're not going to give him 8 carries a game. But I think that that's in there, and it was a big play. And I just I noticed Harlem Berry today, just really looking fluid, running the football. They did a lot of work in the running game, as they've done really every day when we're out there. And I've enjoyed watching Harlem Berry just kind of show his natural running ability, his vision, his quickness, his one cut and go. There's just a lot to like about Harlem Berry, and certainly Brian Kelly talked about that on Saturday's open practice when he met with the media and raved about his former number 1 back in the country. So that's a look at LSU spring practice today. It's our Genesis opening drive. I will certainly dive a little bit deeper into the quarterback situation at the end of this hour when we start talking about Colin Hurley's return and kind of what that means for all the dominoes in that quarterback room. But when we come back, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Derek Carr has launched a YouTube channel. We got to talk about it. We're doing it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big, big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. David talks about this all the time. You can't remove all of the risk that goes with a bathroom and the floors and all of that, because slippery stuff, it happens. There can be incidents. But you can mitigate that risk to an extent. You can put in some non-slip floors to help. You can put guardrails in to help. You can put in a walk-in tub to help. You can put in a shower with a bench in it to help. If you've got an aging loved one, wants to stay home, but you feel like there may be some significant risk in the bathroom that could present some tough circumstances, go ahead and get things taken care of. Go to One Bath and Closets, get that bathroom renovation, and make sure that that bathroom is as safe as is possible. David Vaughn and his team are happy to help you with it. You can start with a free consultation. Go to onebathandclosets.com. The website again, onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, back here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Glenn West, 15 minutes from right now. Senior writer over at Go 24/7. We'll talk some Tigers with Glenn. This is an interesting topic that I didn't think that we'd be hitting on today, but we are, because Derek Carr has launched a YouTube channel. It's called Homegrown Network. He and his brother, David, have launched it. It appears, based on their one and only video, that they're going to review cars, which, nice little play on the name there. If you like cars, want to review cars on a YouTube channel, I think that's great. I think it's awesome. Here's the deal. It's just not a great time as far as the Saints organization goes to launch that channel. Let me start at the beginning. Derek Carr was in a bit of a difficult circumstance showing up in New Orleans because you were coming to play for a coach that a lot of the fan base wasn't wild about, in an aging locker room with an offensive coordinator that probably wasn't equipped to do the job, that was just kept in place because Sean Payton trusted him to be his sous chef for a decade. And you were coming in to a city that really expected, based on the numbers attached to that contract, even though it was not astronomical based on the market for quarterbacks as a whole, but you look at the city of New Orleans and they see that much money being paid to a quarterback. Well, you better look like Drew Brees, and this better look like the Drew Brees era. And it hasn't. It's been the opposite. The Saints have been bad. Carr's been hurt. A coach has been fired. Offensive coordinators have come and gone. There's been rifts with Michael Thomas and the team. There's been rifts with Eric McCoy and Derek Carr. There's been a disconnect, and it just hasn't gone very good. And before the report of the weekend that said that Derek Carr was likely not going to play this year, and before the Homegrown Network ever got launched, things between the city of New Orleans and Derek Carr had been fractured. It's just a fact. Derek Carr's approval rating, if you want to go politics on this, was minuscule. I mean, minuscule. And you can fix that immediately if you start 7-0. I mean, everybody will love Derek Carr. He'll be the toast of the town. This is not because he is a bad guy or he's done anything specifically that's been so heinous. This is just, well, he's hurt all the time. They don't win a lot. Kind of miserable to follow the team. Falls at the feet of the quarterback who's making $1 bajillion. And you do these little things that start to add up. It irritated people that the Super Bowl and all of the spectacle of the NFL descended on New Orleans, and Cam Jordan was there, and Demario Davis was there, and Tyrann Mathieu was there, and Brian Brzee was there, and Blake Grupe was there, and there were a lot of Saints that were very involved in hosting the event, whether that was at Radio Row, whether that was on ESPN or Sports Center, that was doing charity events, or whatever the case may have been, and Derek Carr was nowhere to be found. And it's not in his contract, and it's not against the law for him not to be there, but it's a little thing like you're supposed to kind of represent the city, and that's not really happening. And then everyone on the outside here is looking at Derek Carr as the quarterback of the Saints this coming year, and then the report comes out, well, that's probably not going to be the case. And that's just going to grind people's gears when they feel like they've been left in the cold. Y'all know how I feel about injuries. Y'all know how I feel about press conferences. I don't really care what you say or how you say it. Go win games. But I'm just speaking to the reaction from the entirety of the Saints nation that's like, huh? What happened? You got a shoulder injury that we don't know anything about and you're not going to play? So now we don't have a quarterback? Like, that's going to irritate people. And again, we're not talking about how it impacts the organization as a whole. It's just how the fan base feels. I spend a lot of time talking to the fan base. And so I would just suggest, based on some small journalistic training back in my days at LSU, that you have to understand when you're releasing news, when something is being brought up. Y'all are all, I'm sure, well aware of the term news dump. You want something to get buried? Throw it out there at 5:45 p.m. on a Friday. It'll get buried in the weekend. You want everyone to notice what you're doing? Throw it out there on a Monday or Tuesday morning. Let it stay in the cycle of the week for a while. This is just very common deal. Would you want to have people be cranky? Have a report come out that you're not playing this year, and then 2 days later, crank up a YouTube channel where everybody's all happy and go lucky. That's just not the way to do it. And I could look at this and say, Derek Carr probably doesn't care about the Saints fans because that's a very small piece of the internet. And he can just go on and capitalize on the rest of the internet with his YouTube channel. And there'll come a time where he's still doing the YouTube thing and the Saints are a distant memory. And that may be true. But you're under contract with the Saints right now. So it's a bad look for your job. It's a bad look for the city. Now, candidly, and this is me speaking, like, I don't know what the internal conversations have been like with Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis and Derek Carr. And maybe the conversation's been had, Derek, you can't play this year because you're hurt. Here's what it means for our salary cap. You're never going to play quarterback for the Saints again. And if that's already happened behind closed doors, well, then what does he care? He's not playing football this year anyway. Just put some videos on the internet and get ready for your next payday with whatever team wants to overpay an old mediocre quarterback. And maybe that's happened. But if it hasn't, and there's a chance that you're going to attempt to revitalize your career in some way with the New Orleans Saints, like, this is going to tick everyone off. And I haven't even talked about the content of the YouTube channel. Now, you're talking about me who doesn't care at all about vehicles. Like, I'm not someone who's going to collect high-end vehicles. I'm not someone who really needs a new car every 10 minutes. Like, that's not how I am. I appreciate a gorgeous vehicle. I talk about Genesis a couple times a day on this show. They're gorgeous. I've gotten behind the wheel. It's awesome. I don't need 3 of them. And so when Derek Carr is going to go on here and review with David an electric Rolls Royce, like, I don't care. So it's not even for me. But we're talking about a guy that's worth tens of millions of dollars. And if you're going to do it, why not do the YouTube channel well? And they just stand in the driveway and yap for like 19 minutes. And it's a little bit forced, and it's a little bit awkward. And then they go into scoring the vehicle, and there's 5 categories that Derek and David each rate this electric Rolls Royce on, and they give the exact same score to the Rolls Royce in every category, one of which was a 0 out of 10 for price point. The other one was a 20 out of 10 for the presence the vehicle has, which, for effect, if one of them did that, maybe, but you both, 20, definitely 20 out of 10. It's just awkward. Carr's never been an entertainer. He's never been a great quote. He's never been super entertaining. He's a, very talented football player. But I don't even know that this YouTube channel is very good. And the timing of it is just awful if there's any chance that he is seeking a return to being the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. It's just not the right time to do this. And it's not as if they're desperate for cash. It's not as if there's some sort of season that this has to be done in. You can review cars whenever and wherever you want. Maybe just let a few weeks roll by before you really dive deep into that. I get it. You got OTAs and stuff coming up, and there's always something going on in the NFL. But this is just a bad look. And I would suggest that the relationship between Derek Carr and the city of New Orleans is irreparably fractured at this point. It would take him coming back and blitzing the NFL and making a run in the playoffs. And if anybody would suggest that that's a likelihood, I would suggest that's ambitious. There's a bit of a humor to it for me of like, what are you doing? But then there's another part of me that's like, man, just a really bad look. And I feel like Saints fans are going to have a more visceral reaction to it than I have. But they had a more visceral reaction to everything Derek Carr does than I do at this point. But it's just bad timing. It's just a lack of awareness with the information that I have public. If there's been more conversation behind closed doors that I'm not privy to, whatever. The Saints are moving on anyway. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of positivity from the Black and Gold Who Dat Nation in the comments section of Homegrown Network, the new YouTube channel reviewing $500,000 vehicles. Okay? Just a tough look for Derek and David Carr. Go check out the Homegrown Network. They've got 63,000 subscribers right there on the page. You probably won't. All right, let's talk some LSU. We'll talk with Glenn West, senior writer over at Go 24/7, when we come back on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Gulf Coast Office Products.
Chugging along on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Every week at this time, joined by Glenn West of Go 24/7. He's a senior writer there covering all things LSU Tigers. Joins us now via the Gems Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. How about yourself?
Doing quite well. Let's talk a little bit of football first. Obviously got a chance to go inside Tiger Stadium on Saturday and see some practice. Saw a little bit more today. Jacobian Guillory has put some pads on and started to run around a little bit. How much does that mean to LSU?
Yeah, I think it means something. I mean, he hadn't been doing a whole ton of on-field contact work yet. He's been doing mostly individual drills, getting his feet wet. I think getting back into the swing of things. But we talked to him maybe last week or a couple weeks ago, and he seemed like he was pretty energetic about being back in the fold and getting some work in with the defensive tackles and kind of getting some instruction from Kyle Williams. And so this is the 8th defensive tackle coach in 6 years for Jacobian, and it's going to be I'm sure it's going to be a fun last year for him. But just glad to see that he's out there and healthy. And look, I think this interior defensive line is got some talent on it. Is going to have to be one of those groups that steps up big time for LSU to have the kind of improvement it wants to see on defense.
Yeah, it's interesting because you saw some late season production from Dominic McKinley. Ahmad Bro was in there a lot as a freshman. You bring in Sider Mitchell from Texas, and then Guillory comes back. I mean, LSU's best teams have had great defensive lines. Do you think this one has a chance to be great?
I think they have a chance to be great on the edge. I think we've seen some really good improvement from the 3 transfers that they brought in. Really a lot of consistency from Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, Patrick Payton, Gabriel Relaford has taken a big jump here in year 2. But the question mark is going to be with this defensive tackle room, I think, really until we get to see them play in some games. Right now, I think they've done a decent job of being able to slow the run game down on offense. And I think, but it's only inter-squad stuff. So it's like, is this indicative of how the defensive line is going to play come September, or is this more of just the offensive line struggling to kind of get things going because they have so many guys that they're trying to replace in that lineup? So I'm encouraged by some of the things that we're seeing. I think Sider Mitchell is going to be a huge factor on this defensive line. That was something that I don't think we thought would be the case. I mean, I think they thought maybe he could play a role, but I think he's going to play a much bigger role than maybe we thought coming into the spring. So between him, McKinley, Bro, Guillory, that's a really nice, I think, top 4 there. But that interior defensive line is as physical and as tough a group in terms of just the taxing that it puts on those players' bodies. So they're probably going to need another player or 2 to step up in that unit to feel really strong about it.
Let's talk running back briefly, and we'll switch over to baseball. Who do you think has more touches for LSU in the fall, Harlem Berry or Caleb Jackson?
It's a good question. We've seen Harlem really kind of take some more first and second team reps over the last couple of days because Caden Durham's been out with a little bit of an ankle injury, and Harlem looks really explosive. I mean, he's somebody that I think LSU is going to be able to use in a number of different ways, especially in the passing game. I think he's somebody you can just flip the ball out to in the backfield, and he can make some guys miss and get into the second level. And Caleb's going to be kind of your bruiser in between the line, tackle, kind of running back. And I think we've seen maybe a little bit more from Harlem over the last couple of days, and so maybe I'll lean towards Harlem Berry for right now, but Caleb Jackson's certainly going to have a role. He's going to have to continue to develop in this offseason and be a good complementary piece for this running back room. So I think both will see touches, but in terms of who I think could end up having the most impact, I think Harlem Berry, in his true freshman year, could certainly see some big explosive plays on his way in 2025.
All right, let's shift over to baseball. They get swept over the weekend at Auburn. Panic threshold?
Yeah, I'm not going too high on it. Maybe a 5, 6, somewhere around there. Look, the bats did not show up, and that is, pretty uncharacteristic for LSU's offense this year. They've had games where they haven't shown up, but they haven't had weekends where they haven't shown up. And I think it was just a really tough week for those guys at the plate. I think they got out of their plan for sure. Jay Johnson, read a couple of the articles that Koki Riley over at the Advocate wrote, and he did not sound very pleased with the way that his offense performed over the weekend. So they've got to get it fixed though quick, because McNeese is not a pushover midweek game, and certainly welcoming Alabama into the box this weekend is not going to be easy either. So you just hope that this is something that they can go through. It could be a short-term deal, and then it doesn't linger for a number of weeks. And but I think look, the pitching did enough for you to win. I thought the defense in the outfield was a little sketchy at times, and probably led to some more ballooned innings than they probably would have liked. But really, the crux of the story is going to be the offense, and can those hitters kind of get back on track in the short term.
Yeah, you mentioned pitching. The bullpen's numbers were spectacular. The starters
Yeah.
were pretty mediocre. What did you make of the three starters over the weekend?
Yeah, look, I thought Anderson and Ianson did okay. I mean, nobody was flashy or phenomenal like they were last weekend on the road, or I should say 2 weekends ago now. But Anderson ran into some trouble there, and I think a couple of those balls that were hit really hard into the outfield, they just couldn't track down, and it led to a really big inning on him. That four spot, I believe, in the fifth or the sixth, just really kind of dampened his day. And then Ianson, like I thought Ianson was actually pitching the ball pretty well. And there were a couple more balls that were hit pretty hard into the outfield, but plays that you hope a veteran outfielder like Josh Pearson or a freshman phenom like Derek Curiel would be able to, kind of bring in. But that allowed them to get a couple runs on him and drive up his pitch count. So, I thought he did well. And he was probably the best of the three over the weekend. I thought Chase Shores, had a pretty bad day, pretty bad 2 innings there, but we were able to kind of back him up with both Kason Evans and Zach Cowan, and so you didn't let that lead balloon into anything you couldn't overcome. It's just that the offense just wasn't able to respond in those clutch moments. So if we were putting a grade on the pitching staff, especially the starters, I'd probably go C minus. And I think it's something that they're going to have to continue to monitor and look at, is what the best three grouping of that starting group is.
Could Zach Cowan be involved in that number?
I think so. I mean, the way he's been pitching right now, I mean, it was so glaring to see Cowan pitch behind Shores on Sunday, in my opinion. Like, I just think he's the most dialed in pitcher that you have right now, and it's been over the course of a number of weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised if that move happens, if they continue to struggle, if Shores in particular continues to struggle the way that he has at various points in the SEC play. But I know that Jay Johnson and Nate Yeski, they really, really, really love having Cowan and Evans in the bullpen, and it's going to take, I think, a pretty major drop off for that to change here in the next couple weeks.
What do you expect to see tonight from a pitching perspective?
Yeah, I would assume William Schmidt gets some good work in 2, 3, 4 innings, whatever it is. It kind of seems like he's turned into that midweek starter for LSU here over the last couple weeks. And I would expect to see Jaden Newt, a couple of these bullpen guys that got some work in over the weekend, but also I think have some ability to get you a couple outs here and there. So I think they're going to piece it together just like they have been over the last several weeks. But William Schmidt, I think, has started to put things together a little bit in the midweek games, and maybe gaining some more confidence and momentum. And we'll see if that translates into some more opportunities in the weekends here going forward. But I like what he's done in those midweek games, so I would expect he gets the start.
Halfway home in SEC play, your gut, do you think they're going to be a top 8 national seed?
Man, that's a good question. I think so. I still have long-term belief in this offense that they're going to get it together. It's just, when do they get it together is going to be the big question mark, because there's no doubt they're in a little bit of a slump right now. And really, I mean, you could see it coming. I mean, the 2 of the 3 games that they played 2 weekends ago at Oklahoma were not spectacular, but because the pitching was so great, you were able to overcome it. So I just think it's just going to be a matter of, does this offense kind of get it together here soon, or does it take another week or two before they really start to get back into where they were at the beginning of SEC play? So I would lean yes. I think having the next couple series at home is going to help them a lot. Just getting back into the swing of things at Alex Box. You get I think it's the next 8 or 9 games here in Alex Box Stadium. If you can build some momentum back at home and take this thing on the road to A&M in 3 weeks, and you could be looking at a team that's either got 14 wins or 15 wins, or could have 11 or 12 wins. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this can go over the next couple of weeks because of the talent that's coming in here.
No doubt. Alabama this weekend, Tennessee next weekend. Glenn West will be there covering all of it for Go 24/7. All your team coverage, recruiting coverage, they got you covered over there. Go 24/7. Thanks, Glenn.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
I want to remind you, every single Tuesday, we're out at Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. Pizza by Roan's on Perkins, and we will be playing some sports trivia tonight at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock to about 9:15. Play sports trivia. So if you want to come out, get some pizza, get some wings, drink some cold beer, hang out and win some gift cards, you can do that at Pizza by Roan's on Perkins. 8 o'clock for sports trivia. You can come by yourself. You can bring a team. We'll be there 8 o'clock at Pizza by Roan's. We'll come back, close out the hour, talking about LSU's quarterback situation, which looks way different right now than it did back in January. We'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carr and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance side of things. They can handle your commercial, property, and casualty. They can also handle your group and employee benefits. Think of the Highland Insurance Group as a consultant. Think of them as part of your team. That's the way you think about your attorney. That's the way you think about your CPA. You should think about your insurance broker in that same way. They're there to help you through some difficult times. And you never know when those are going to come up in the insurance world. So make sure on the front end that you're taken care of. Make sure things are buttoned up. Make sure your property limits are correct. Make sure that your cyber coverage in place. You don't want those exclusions that would perhaps make a claim become denied and cost you money on the front end with premium and the back end and uncovered loss. Don't let those things happen. The Highland Insurance Group can help you through all of it with all your commercial business needs, EPL, crime, cyber, DMO, umbrella, all the things you may need in the commercial insurance world. The Highland Insurance Group can help you with that. Find them online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, wrapping up hour number one here, Hunt Palmer Show on a Tuesday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Lots to do in hour number two, including Sharif Ishaq on the Saints and Pels. Out at Tiger Stadium on Saturday, it was great to see Colin Hurley back with the LSU football team. He was there in street clothes on the field with his family, and LSU released a statement after the practice was over. I want to call it the spring game, but after the practice was over, suggesting that he was back with the team and they were thrilled to have him. Of course, you all recall that Colin Hurley was involved in a single car accident Thursday, January the 16th, when the authorities arrived on the scene. He was found unresponsive in his car, so serious car crash, and we didn't get a lot of information after that, as you would likely expect. But we did find out in the weeks that followed that Colin Hurley had left Baton Rouge, had gone back to Jacksonville, where he's from, and was recovering there with family, and now is good enough to come back and rejoin the team. And it was awesome today to go out to practice and see Colin Hurley actually participating in practice. He was in a helmet, was going through the one-on-one drills, was throwing the ball down the field, and Brian Kelly talked about welcoming Hurley back to practice today when he met with the media.
It was great to see Colin out there today. He was involved in, and you guys saw, he was involved in some of the one-on-ones, and man, he looks great physically. He's got an unbelievably strong arm. It was just great to have him back out there. And just to have him here on campus is just a blessing to get that young man back here and be in the kind of physical condition that he is just exciting.
It is. It's awesome because when this happens, like, football takes a back seat. You get in a significant car accident and you're not responsive when the authorities show up. Like, football not all that important in this story. But once that recovery starts to set in, you return to the football field and he can continue life as usual. Keep in mind, Colin Hurley enrolled in college at 16 years old. He was 17 years old when he got into this car accident. So this is an incredibly young person that we've just known about since he was 14, 15 years old. He committed to LSU as a college sophomore, decided to enroll in LSU a year early. I was right in the middle of the age group in my class as a January birthday, and I was 18 when I was a senior in high school. And this is a guy who's been at LSU for a year and a half, and he's 17 years old. So it's great that he could rejoin the team. And so now we can approach this from strictly a football perspective, right? And that's what I'd rather do here is talk about football. Unfortunately, sometimes life has a way of showing up. But from a football perspective, LSU right now is in a really good spot as far as the quarterback spot goes. It is a fool's errand, and you all know this. It's a fool's errand to try to forecast the quarterback depth chart 1, 2, 3 years down the road. You used to be able to do that. You could do that. You would know who was the sophomore, junior, senior that you might have. You know who the freshman is on campus. You know who the 4-star recruit is that's signed. And, you can kind of map out what it might look like at quarterback. You can't do that anymore because everyone's transferring, but the quarterbacks transfer even more. And no program is immune to these transfers in and out. So it doesn't do us any good to sit here and talk about who the quarterback is at LSU for the first game in 2026 and not even close to the first game in 2027, right? All we can really do is look at LSU's quarterback room for 2025. And when you look at LSU's quarterback situation in 2025, you have a starting quarterback who is a fifth-year college player with a year of starting experience under his belt. That's as good as you can do. At the backup spot, you've got a guy with SEC starting experience who was a four-star recruit. So high on ability and got some young experience. That's about as good as you can do as your second-team quarterback. And now you've got Colin Hurley as your third-team quarterback, a former four-star recruit who is young, who's willing to sit and wait his turn, who is a developmental project piece at the back end of your depth chart, which a lot of people don't have because they leave. And then you have added to the equation Juwan Johnson, who is a wrinkle to your offense, specifically in short yardage situations and in the red zone and tight zone. So that is about as diverse and quality a group as you can put together in 2025. The days of signing two four-star quarterbacks in the same class and bringing them up together, those days are gone. So you've got to layer it with some high school guys and some transfers. And in this case, you've got a high school guy in Garrett Nussmeier. You've got a transfer right behind him in Michael Van Buren. You've got a high school guy in Colin Hurley. And then you've got Michael Van Buren, who you swapped positions perspective. Juwan Johnson, who you swatched a position change. So that's a very, very healthy spot for Joe Sloan in this quarterback situation to be in. You never want your starting quarterback to go down. Every team is going to take a little bit of a step back when your backup quarterback comes in. But I'll tell you this, in Tiger Stadium on Saturday, Michael Van Buren was dropping some dimes. I mean, he made some great throws. One, a deep ball down the left sideline to Chris Hilton, who made a sliding catch. He dropped a dot into Trey'Dez Green on a really good throw down the left sideline as well. He's a talented guy. Is he a championship-level quarterback today? I don't know about that. Is he capable of starting a home game for LSU and functioning the offense? I think probably. I don't want a guy who's in everybody's top five for the Heisman to go down. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying your backup quarterback can function. I think Juwan Johnson's got a piece of this offense that is uniquely his. We saw it in the red zone on Saturday in Tiger Stadium, and I think you're going to see it as the season gets here. And then Hurley, it's great to have him back as a developmental piece who has some talent, no question. So you could have looked at this, and I mean, there was a chance in December Garrett Nussmeier was leaving. You didn't have Michael Van Buren until the portal opened. Juwan Johnson wasn't a quarterback this time last month. And Colin Hurley got hurt in the car accident. Like, there were a lot of variables that got LSU to where they are right now. And when you line that quarterback room up 1 through 4, you feel good about it. Now you understand that you're going to have to go get a quarterback or two in the next high school class and the next transfer portal class. Because Nussmeier moves on, and then who knows what happens with the other three guys. Just is what it is in this era of college football. But for right now, today, looking at 2025, LSU's quarterback situation is good as just about anybody in the country, I would suggest. So if you're looking for LSU content, you can always find it Hunt on LSU, wherever you find your podcast, certainly on YouTube as well. Looking for your Saints content, Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcasts, or on YouTube as well. We opened the show today talking a little bit about LSU spring football practice today. Derek Carr launched a YouTube channel. I touched on that at 1:15. Glenn West talking Tigers at 1:30. Lots and lots to do in the second hour of the show today. Open with a very, very interesting midweek game between LSU and McNeese tonight. Sharif Ishak talking Saints and Pels coming up at 2:30. So come back with us for hour number 2. We'll pause for Sports Center, and then we'll get into it for our second hour on a Tuesday here on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. It makes a lot of sense to start your car buying process at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You can look at a lot of pictures, look at a lot of different options, know that whatever you're looking at there on the website is available on the lot, and then highly suggest you stop on by the lot airline at PQ. You're going to be treated like a guest there, not a customer. Their brand ambassadors are first class all the way. They'll get you behind the wheel of whatever Genesis it is that you're looking into. They'll give you an explanation as to why it is such a wonderful experience, and you'll know that you're in one of the safest cars on the road. Every single model in the Genesis line won the IIHA Top Safety Award. Some of them were Top Safety Picks Plus. Get on by Genesis of Baton Rouge, airline and PQ, and see the difference for yourself. Get behind the wheel of a Genesis. Start that process at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NBA Spotlight tonight on the play-in tournament begins with Magic Hawks in the 7-8 East matchup, followed by the West 7-8 matchup, Warriors-Grizzlies. Golden State's 0-3 in play-in games, but tonight should be a different result, believes ESPN NBA analyst and former WNBA forward Chiney Ogwumike.
Steph is better. I think he's going to get over that 27 points per game mark. Jimmy Butler, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. This is the moment that they had to get him, to push them over the edge for games like this. Draymond will have to hold them down defensively, but if the whole team plays together, I think the Warriors will keep this one out.
ESPN's Shams Charania is reporting Bucks point guard Damian Lillard will miss the start of the playoffs with a blood clot in his right calf. Milwaukee opens up round 1 Saturday against Indiana. Pelicans finalizing a deal to hire Hall of Famer Joe Dumars as their new president of basketball operations. NFL Dolphins GM Chris Greer confirmed the team's having trade talks about star quarter Jalen Ramsey. NHL Senators expect Captain Brady Tkachuk to return from a lingering upper body injury for Saturday's playoff opener.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming on Wednesday, I'll tell you the one mistake each of the top 5 teams need to avoid in the NFL draft. It's unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Sharif Ishak coming to you in 30 minutes. We'll talk some Pels as they've had a bunch of front office shakeup. Zion on the trading block, or maybe he's not on the trading block. We'll talk about all that with Sharif half an hour from right now. I just heard in the Sports Center that the NBA playoff tournament begins tonight, which makes sense. The Pels season just wrapped up over the weekend, and it made me think just briefly, and this is how my weird brain is wired. I've watched the NBA Finals from Omaha 3 different times. So I know that the College World Series and the NBA Finals often share dates. And they're starting the playoffs today. LSU still has 5 weeks of SEC play, then the SEC Tournament 6, then the Regional 7, then the Super Regional 8, then the College World Series. Like this, the playoffs in the NBA last forever, just forever, which is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's just something worth noting that, like, we're not even close to Omaha around here, and that's where this playoff is going. So just interesting. I thought that popped into my brain. If LSU wants to get to Omaha, they're going to need to score some runs, which they didn't do over the weekend. And they're probably going to have to score some runs tonight because this is a McNeese team that is coming in playing great baseball. Justin Hill, former LSU Tigers, the head coach at McNeese. He's got the Cowboys off to their best start in school history. They are 27-5 to this point. They are 14-4 in Southland play. They have the nation's longest current winning streak at 12 games right now, coming off a sweep of Incarnate Word. So it's a good McNeese team. It's got an RPI in the high 20s. And I will tell you this. They will try over the course of the next 5 weeks to put together a resume that says they are an at-large team. Now, it's going to be difficult to do that in the Southland Conference, but it is possible. And if they are trying to put together a bid to be an at-large, this would be a really nice feather in their cap to get this win. Not the end-all, be-all, but it would be a nice feather in their cap to get this win. So you're going to get a motivated McNeese team that I think could use some high-leverage pitchers. Like, I'm not going to dive into the McNeese pitching staff deeply. I'm not going to go into pitch counts. Like, I'm just saying you're facing a team tonight that is really going to give you their best swing because rarely do these midweek games mean a ton. And this one may not for either team, but it might for McNeese. So they're going to come in guns blazing. This is not one of those midweek games for LSU that if you lose, it's a black mark on your resume. This is not a 246 RPI that you're losing to if you were to lose. This is a top 30 RPI right now that you'd be losing to. The SEC's got a bunch of teams in the top 30. So it's not a spot for a bad loss for LSU. It is a big spot for a potential win for McNeese. So with that said, LSU's got to wake up the bats. They have to. I laid out yesterday the struggles that this team has had from a numbers perspective. They're awful. But I don't believe it to be a significant question mark with the team. I don't think Jerry Jones going whatever it was, 1 for 13 with 6 strikeouts is cause for immense concern. Jerry Jones is a 360 hitter that has a chance in the next 4 weeks to become the 3rd all-time home run hitter in the history of LSU baseball. He's going to be okay. Incidentally, Jerry Jones has 7 home runs against midweek competition this season. I'd like to see that added to tonight. As far as pitching goes for LSU, you've got the same cast of characters that you're essentially used to in the midweek. William Schmidt is ready to go after a really nice midweek effort last week in Thibodeau. I think Connor Ware is ready to go after a nice effort in Auburn. I think that Connor Benj is obviously ready to go. Maverick Rizzi is obviously ready to go. DJ Primo is obviously ready to go. Jaden Newt is obviously ready to go. So that's a lot of arms. And I think, based on a fairly light workload of 22 pitches on Sunday, if LSU's got a 5-4 lead in the 9th inning in the game tonight, I think it's reasonable for Kason Evans to go pitch that 9th inning. Something good's got to happen for LSU here. That was a stinker of a weekend. And it was a stinker in multiple facets. It was a stinker because you lost all 3 games, obviously. But the fact that you didn't score but once in the first 7 innings of all 3 games combined, that's just playing from behind, playing under pressure, frustration, struggling. There was no rhythm to the game for LSU. Something good needs to happen. Now, I chronicled last week entering the Nichols game, like LSU is feasted on these teams in the first inning. Just big run totals. 7 spot on Louisiana Tech, 9 spot on whoever it was. I think it was UL Lafayette. You had 7 spot on North Dakota State. Xavier, you scored a ton in the first inning. Like, it was a lot of early action so that you could settle in and kind of feel comfortable. And LSU, I'm not expecting them to score 6 or 9 runs on Auburn in the first inning, but I would like, hey, there's a 3-0 lead. Like, you got the home run from Milam early in the game on Saturday. That's really all the early offense that you got. That needs to change tonight. They need to come out, swing the bats better. Defense let them down over the weekend. That needs to improve. I don't know who McNeese is planning on throwing in this game. I guess technically it could be in their game notes, so I'll give that a click here as I continue to go through my notes. But I don't care who McNeese throws. I don't care if he's right-handed or left-handed. That's not my concern in this game. LSU's got enough guys from both sides of the plate to swing the bat and get the job done offensively. They did not do it in Auburn. So I don't have a starter projected for McNeese here, but they do have a really good lineup. They've got 4 guys in their lineup that are hitting .330 or better. They've got a 5th guy that's got 9 home runs. It was a monster week for Connor Westenberg. He was the Southland Conference Hitter of the Week. He was 10 for 18 last week, which is .556. He had a double, 2 triples, 6 driven in. So they got a good team. They've got a regional team, and that's a team that LSU needs to go out and outclass tonight. Because as good as McNeese is, and they're a good team in the Southland Conference, they're not anywhere near LSU's level. So that's just the reality of the situation. So I'm interested in the game tonight. I think McNeese has more to gain than LSU does to lose. I think LSU needs to come out and swing the freaking bats and catch the ball. The pitching should take care of itself. LSU has played great in these midweek games all season. I believe they're 11-0 at this point in midweek games. They had a few 2 midweek game weeks early in the season. And they've handled everything that's been thrown at them. You handled a trip to Dallas Baptist to play in a big league park. You handled a road trip to Thibodeau where your offense wasn't great. You've handled a Monday game. You've handled a couple of Wednesday games. You've scored a lot early. Like, they've handled everything that's been tossed at them in the midweek, and they're, I think, the only SEC team that's done that to this point. As I've said the last 3 weeks, like, statistically speaking, you will probably drop one of these games this year. We'll see if it's tonight. McNeese is a good team. They're going to come in with a lot to play for. So LSU and McNeese tonight, 6:30 first pitch If you'd like to listen to it, you can do so over on Eagle 98.1. That's our sister station. It'll be Chris Blair and Doug Thompson on the pregame at 6 o'clock. LSU and McNeese from the box tonight. We'll react to it on tomorrow's show. All right, Sharif Ishak coming up in about 15, 18 minutes from right now. Come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Shout out to Anissa Mora, who's the 7th pick in the WNBA draft last night. Headed to the Connecticut Sun. Second year in a row that LSU has had the 7th overall pick in the WNBA draft. Angel Reese to Chicago last year. Anissa Mora. I did not realize Anissa Mora, top 25 all-time in women's college basketball history in scoring. She led the nation in rebounding this past year. Just monster double-double numbers as well. So best of luck to Anissa Mora as she heads to the Connecticut Sun. This Nico Iamaleava story doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'll be real honest with you. If the most obvious thing is true, and if this is hypothetical, mind you, I don't have any details, but if this is true, it just blows my mind. If it's true that Nico Iamaleava had an agreement for $3 million, whatever the case may be, and his camp just assumed, well, somebody will pay me a lot more than that. Tennessee, you better do it. And then Tennessee was like, we're good. You don't really do all that much here. We're going to go get another quarterback. And then he was like, all right, I'm here. Former 5-star who wants to pay me more than $3 million after I just went out there and threw for 17 touchdowns and 8 interceptions and rode a running game and a defense to the playoffs. And then a bunch of crickets started chirping, and like Tulane raised their hand, and UCLA, who gives away tickets to their home games, was like, hey. And then all of a sudden we realized that nobody's really interested, and now he's just out of luck. If that is what happened, I cannot believe this. And I think one of the things that I keep going back to as I analyze this story and we wade into this new world of college sports is when you make decisions purely based on money, there just are more opportunities for things to go wrong. And I realize that it is really easy for someone to look at me and go, what do you know? No one's ever offered you $3 million to do anything. Like, how could you put yourself in that situation? I can't. But I feel like there should be some significant consideration to coaching. Should be some significant consideration to teammates. Should be some significant consideration to winning. Like, that should matter on some level. And from the outside looking in, and I'm very careful to put that qualifier on all this because I don't know how all these discussions have been handled. When this is a contract dispute, a lot more is on the table in the professional ranks. This is all kind of smoke and mirrors. But when you just eliminate coaching from the equation, eliminate teammates from the equation, eliminate winning from the equation, and you just purely come to the table and say, how much money can I get right now? That oftentimes is going to come with a lot of complications. It just feels, and it feels like, I don't know this, it feels like Nico Iamaleava and or his camp have made a grave, grave mistake. It feels like that. We don't have resolution. I don't know what's going to happen. There may be a college football playoff contender with deep pockets that has a meeting with him, determines he's the guy that they really think can change their fortune, and he's going to make double what he got at Tennessee, and he's going to be in the college football playoff and in the semifinals, and he'll be the 3rd pick in the draft next year. Like, for all I know, that's what's coming. But it feels like someone who did not have all the cards in their deck decided to go all in. And now everyone's calling and you don't have any cards. And that's sad to me to an extent. It's sad. Because while I've said this from the start, like I like the fact that college athletes can make some money because I think there are a lot of college athletes that deserve to capitalize on the name, image, and likeness that they have created through hard work and success. But this handout demand thing is a little bit much. And it feels like there are mistakes being made, bridges being burned, lack of consideration for any other aspect of this time in life, which is collegiate athletics, to just go chase dollars. And I just don't know if that's the point. And again, I've been saying something to that extent for a week following the story, but it keeps progressing. The first was the report that he's not happy. Then the report that he's not at practice. Then the report that they're parting ways. Now the report that here are the schools that are involved. Now the report that Tulane says they're not. Tulane? What world are we talking about here where a championship-level player is leaving the University of Tennessee for Tulane? Like, do you think we may have made a wrong turn here? That just doesn't make any sense to me. Tulane draws 37 fans. Tennessee's a top 5 winning program in the history of the sport. We're taking meetings with Tulane now? The whole thing just, it almost makes me sad. And I don't have any dog in the fight here. I don't care about Tennessee football. I don't care about Tulane football. I don't care about UCLA football. And it doesn't affect me one way or another if Nico Iamaleava makes $3 million or $30. But I can sit back and look at this and go, playing football at the University of Tennessee for Josh Heupel and that roster in that stadium in this conference for $3 million is a pretty good spot to be in. It's not like they're giving the screws to you here. They made you one of the wealthiest recruits ever. And this is what you decide to do with that? And again, I don't know if Nico's calling the shots here. I don't know if his dad is calling the shots here. I don't know if there's an agent involved here. I don't know if there's tampering. Like, there's so much I don't know. So I hesitate to just get on here and fly off the handle about something that I don't have all the details about. But the details I do have make this almost impossible to watch. It's so brutal. I've kind of said my piece on this. Taylor, I know that you're doing the morning show and that you've had some things to say about this, but I can't fully wrap my hands around this one. I really can't. We're going from playing for millions of bucks at Tennessee to taking meetings with Tulane and UCLA. Did you see UCLA play this year? They were atrocious.
Yeah, I did.
I don't understand.
No, I actually talked about this morning, and I actually mentioned it yesterday. And when it first came out, I was like, okay, let's look at the top teams that would be willing to spend that type of money and what their quarterback situation is. Ohio State appears to love Julian Sayin. Michigan spent all the money on Bryce Underwood. They're not doing it again. Like the teams I threw out there, I actually gave Nico too much credit. I said, okay, it's either going to be Notre Dame because Stephen Jelly looks like he's going to be their starter.
I never heard of Stephen Jelly. So
he's the guy that came in for Riley Leonard last year against Georgia when he got hurt. Like he engineered a touchdown drive. He did some nice things.
I watched
and then I mentioned Florida State because I'm like, okay, they brought in Thomas Castellanos from Boston College, but if Mike Norvell's desperate enough, he'll do it. But North Carolina, which first off, Bill Belichick is not taking this guy. Not after what he pulled at Tennessee. I would be absolutely floored if Bill Belichick made this guy part of his program.
Counterpoint. Bill Belichick took Randy Moss and he took Tim Tebow and he has taken some projects and said, I'll fix that with this structure. So I don't think that Bill Belichick would appreciate that type of behavior, but he might think he can fix it.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking like Nico's not really a project. This is more of a greed sort of thing.
Yeah, well,
it's
a entourage thing. It's a motivation thing. Like, do you care about doing the right things the Patriot way? I'll use the air quotes, even though it's in North Carolina, or do you just care about how much money's in your checking account tomorrow? Like, those are two different things. But I don't care about Tennessee football, and I don't have any emotional investment to that. But I feel like that you got to weigh some other options besides, okay, you're going to pay me $3 million and this guy's going to pay me 3.2. Like, if somebody else says they'll pay you $9 million, well, let's talk about that. What do we? I don't know what we're doing here. It's just the whole thing is completely backwards, and it's the dark side of college athletics right now.
And I've heard so many people be like, "Oh, well, don't worry, he'll find a home. Alabama's going to call him." Look, I hate to give Alabama credit, but Alabama's a good football program. Good football programs don't make moves like this. Like, I don't care how bad their quarterback situation is.
He can't play for them next year, so
yeah, he can't do that. But even if he could, I don't see Kalen DeBoer doing that.
Who knows? It's it's not like it's not apples to apples with the professional world. It's not, because there are no contracts, there's no rule in place, there's no salary cap, there's no guardrails. It's just like whatever you feel in that moment, do that. And if you feel at that moment that Tennessee's is not paying you enough, you just go. And that, I think that you've made a commitment to be where you are, and you should, all things being equal, unless you've been wrong, like, generally stick to that. I just feel like there's a respectful way to go about things, and this just doesn't feel like it to me, and it feels like a massive mistake on another level. So we'll see what the actual results are of this, and if Nico Emelia comes on the other side smelling like a rose, or feels like a massive error. But it's been something to watch, that's for sure. All right, Sharif Ishak talking about the Saints and the Pelicans when we come back.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
There's a lot going on down in New Orleans, so we bring in our New Orleans guy, Sharif Ishak from WDSU down in NOLA. We're going to talk some Saints and some Pels. Sharif, it's chaos down there. What's going on?
I hate my life so much.
Is there one reason more so than the others?
It's always something. IAS. It is always something with the Saints or the Pelicans.
Let's start with the Saints. We'll get to the Pelicans. Let's start with Derek Carr, the shoulder injury. What do you know about when the Saints knew, how severe this is, what the situation is moving forward?
You want me to give you my opinion or what they think?
I want both of those.
My opinion is I don't think he's hurt. I think he wants out. And they didn't cut him, and they didn't trade him. So, all of a sudden, a shoulder injury has popped up out of nowhere. I'm having a hard. Something stinks about this story. Something stinks so bad when it comes to this entire story. I personally don't think he's hurt. I don't think he's hurt. I think he wanted out. He didn't get his way. So now, a few days before they start off-season activity, which happened yesterday, he says he has a shoulder injury and it could be possibly put him out for the season. What? When did this happen? I mean, just mysteriously 2 weeks before the draft. Your camp puts this out 2 weeks before the draft and a few days before your team opens off-season activities, and you're putting it out now. Why wasn't anything said in March, early March? That's when the team apparently knew about it in March. Why was nothing said? Was that just kept secret so they can, continue on with drafting a quarterback? I truly think, like many other people think, like Diana Rossini reported, I think that he doesn't want the team to draft a quarterback. He wants to be the guy. He doesn't want to mentor anybody, so he wants to be cut, and they didn't do it. So I believe it. I wholeheartedly believe it. I don't think he's hurt. I mean, that's just crazy to think it came from 2023, an injury happened in 2023, it's still lingering, and now you want to get it fixed. I mean, come on. Come on, man. I'm having a hard time believing this story. Something stinks severely when it comes to the story. Now, when it comes to the Saints, they probably knew about it a month ago, and he has a shoulder issue, and they've known about it. That's their side.
So the Saints have been linked to a lot of quarterbacks over the last 5 weeks. All these quarterbacks that are coming through in the draft. Does any of that have anything to do with Derek Carr?
I truly think it does. I think they were doing their homework. So that's the part where it makes it look like they knew something was going on, an injury or him just being upset about the whole situation. So they started really doing their homework about this upcoming draft, whether if it's the first round, the 40th pick, the third round picks, whatever. They started really going in on their homework, and it's good on them to do that because they're going to draft a quarterback at some point in this draft. I'm not sure if it's 9, 40, one of the 2 third-round picks. Something's going to happen. But for Kellen Moore to be at pro days, Jackson Dart's pro days, Cam Ward's pro day, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, and some of his assistants going to Colorado to see Shedeur Sanders. They had to do their homework now that they found out this is a situation created by Derek Carr.
How do we get to this point with Derek Carr and the organization, with Derek Carr and the city, with Derek Carr just in general?
It's an amazing question. I think you saw the warning signs that happened when he was with the Raiders. I mean, remember when he sat out because he felt like he wanted to play, he didn't want to leave, and he felt like the organization was forcing his hand, and he feels like maybe this is happening again. If somebody paid me that much money to be on the team for one more year, I would take the money and try to build my resume and get on a team next year. I'm not going to whine and pout about I have to eventually help out a rookie quarterback. Look, I'm sure somebody eventually had to help you out before you took. I know he played a lot in his rookie year, but at some point in time, you have to act like a veteran quarterback who's getting paid a ton of money. So I just think he wanted to be a starting quarterback, didn't want anything to do with helping out in developing a young quarterback and mentoring him. And I just think he said, you know what? Kellen Moore says, I'm not his quarterback. You know what? I'm not going to be his quarterback. Let them figure it out. You guys are restructuring my contract. I'm taking my money, and I say my shoulder hurts, and I might not be able to play next year. I just think that, like, it's bad business, man. It's bad business from both sides. Not just his. Bad business from both sides. They should have clipped him when they had a chance to cut him and just hit the $51 million. But I understand why they couldn't, because that means they would have had to restructure more guys than just Derek Carr. So, you know what? Came back to bite them. And that's what they have to deal with now.
It's fascinating to me as far as Derek Carr goes. Like, you've covered him. You've been at practices. You've been in press conferences. I'm not sure how much access y'all have gotten to him when the camera's not on record, but like, he tends to say all the right stuff. Do you think behind closed doors you're looking at a different guy?
Oh, yeah. I genuinely think he's a nice guy, but like sometimes it comes off as kind of disingenuous the way sometimes things are said. And I'm sure you can pick up on it as a regular guy listening to it. It feels like it's a little fake to me. And it can be a little disingenuous, and people can just pick up on it quickly. And you're just like, that sounds like nice of him to say stuff like that. Like saying and doing. I've said that millions of times on your show. Saying and doing. I feel like he's saying things, he's not doing the right thing. It's just, I feel like since day one he got into the city, I feel like he rubbed people the wrong way, and the fans just picked up on it. You know, people here pick up on things easy. If you like don't show love to the city, they're not going to show love back to you. You know that's how it works here. That's the one thing. You remember Drew Brees whenever Zion got drafted. If you love the city, it's going to love you back. That answers your question there. Plain and simple.
Yeah, we'll see how this saga plays out over the next few weeks, especially with the draft coming up next week. You mentioned Drew Brees talking to Zion Williamson. Let's transition to the Pelicans. They move on from David Griffin. How much of the Pelicans' struggles are at his feet?
At Zion Williamson's feet?
No, David Griffin, sorry.
Oh, David. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, that the whole thing was kind of a mess, and this was never a shock. I told you last week that this was coming. Yeah, I mean, it just like I think things should have gone differently. I think he did a good job of building things behind the scene really well. I mean, we put together good draft classes. I would say good training staff and medicine and all that stuff. But he was given the money to do all those things and build that structure, but players just couldn't stay healthy. I mean, they did a good job of building a structure back behind the scenes that many people don't get to see. But there's some things on the timeline that didn't work out. Maybe he should have traded Drew Holiday when he first got here and kind of rebooted the whole franchise and gone super young instead of trying to go all in and buy in right away and trying to win a championship, and just kept doing it and it didn't work. And should have probably gone the Oklahoma City Thunder route, and maybe that would have panned out better for the Pelicans instead of trying to do too much and trying to win now when this roster didn't provide you the win now. You should have just hit the reset as soon as he came in, which he did with Anthony Davis, got some players back, but then he should have traded Drew Holiday too. And keeping Gentry, I probably wasn't his decision. He wanted to fire him. They said no. And, the Stan Van Gundy thing didn't last. It was a lot. The first 3 years kind of messed the last 3 years up. And everyone's going to say, well, they went to the playoffs 2 of those last 3 years. But getting into the play-in 3 times, 3 years in a row is just not what you're supposed to be if you're selling championships to the franchise and city. So, yeah, it went sideways this year. I mean, outside of the injuries, I think it felt like it went sideways for other, reasons. Like, roster just didn't work. It just, you put together not a great roster.
What do you think of the Joe Dumars hire?
I'm going to echo what a lot of people say, and it's not Joe Dumars' fault. I think it's a little too lazy, and it was too much of an easy decision. You didn't cast a wide net. You didn't go through the interview process to me in the right way. At least interview a few people and see what's going on, what they think about your franchise and organization, what they could do. They hired someone they know really well. I mean, Gail knows him really well. Dennis Lauscher, Greg Bensel, Mickey Loomis. I mean, they just love, comfortability and familiarity. So, and that's what they went with. And he's a nice guy. He really is a nice guy. Winning the 2 championships as a player with the Pistons and won it as an executive in 2004, executive of the year. But has the game passed him by? I mean, he hasn't been in the front office since 2014. It's going to be a lot of questions to answer. Also, is he going to keep Willie? Is he going to keep Bryson Graham? Is Zion Williamson? Is he going to be able to get to Zion Williamson? If not, is that it? Is this the end of Zion Williamson, considering, on and off the court stuff? Are they tired of dealing with that type of, situations? Are they ready to move on? So he's got a lot of work to do, Hunt, especially after this year.
I mean, the Zion thing is probably decision number one. That's even more important than the head coach, in my opinion. What do you think Joe Dumars is going to end up doing there?
I think he's going to try to get through to Zion. And if Zion wants to keep doing Zion ways, I think it's going to be time to move on. And I know fans are going to hate it. They don't want that. But he's only I have to go back and look at 250-something games. I'm a little off on that. But in 6 years, that's not good. I mean, you got to have a guy available. If he's not available, he's not committed on and off the court, then they probably look at it as if we're going to wash our hands with it and we're going to try to get some value and move on. And I wouldn't blame him at this point. But at the same time, what's going to happen. He moves on, he becomes great. That's just, the luck of the Pelicans. But he's going to try his best, I'm sure, to get through to him and see what happens from there. But it just doesn't look good, Hunt. The optics of it on and off the court is just not great.
Not a lot great in New Orleans at the current juncture, but we'll talk to you about it next week, Sharif.
Oh, I can't wait to tell you about my draft pick next week. So looking forward to it.
Excellent. We'll do that then. Sharif Ishak, WDSU down in New Orleans. Thanks, man. The Pelicans, it's interesting. I was having this discussion with my buddies, and when you start to think about the last 20 years of the Pelicans, and you start to think about where that ranks in the pantheon of American sports, I can't do hockey reasonably, but if you just take NFL, NBA, MLB, the Pelicans share company with the Charlotte Hornets. They share company with the Cleveland Browns. They share company with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Cincinnati Reds. Like, everybody generally makes a run and wins a round of the playoffs or two, or wins a championship or plays for a championship. And the Pelicans just haven't been relevant. Like, they got the first pick and they got Anthony Davis and they didn't get anything out of it. And they got the first pick and they've gotten Zion Williamson and they haven't gotten anything out of it other than the one run with Chris Paul and David West. That's been it. And you start to look around the climate of American sport, like, who has had less success and been less relevant than that? Like, you could have said Minnesota, they've had a little run here. You could have said the Bucks, but they got Giannis and climbed the mountain. Like, the Kings haven't done much in the NFL. Like, we're talking 20 years. Like, the Browns are kind of the only ones that have been completely irrelevant and have never sniffed anything of significance. It's just, they just can't get any traction. And it's hard when you're a small market with a fan base that's not generations deep to build a winner. But folks have done it in small markets. San Antonio did it. Oklahoma City's done it twice. Talked about the Bucks. Like, Orlando got Dwight Howard and they made a run and made the finals. And the Pelicans just can't seem to figure anything out. They got two phenomenal breaks with AD and Zion. And the fruit is nothing. Just nothing. And that stinks. And I'm pulling for them, but, like, they're just not interesting or relevant. They're just an afterthought in a league that has had a lot of teams rise to the top. Oh, well. We'll close it out. Coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every new Genesis purchase comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Every new purchase comes to 3 years of complimentary maintenance. And that complimentary maintenance, valet, means if you're at work, need something done, oil change, air filter, want to deal with the wipers, wiper fluids, whatever the case may be with your service, They'll come take your car, leave you a loaner so you can get on about your day. They'll handle all the maintenance that needs to be done. They'll drive it right back to you. It's luxury. And that's what you get when you get behind the wheel of a Genesis. That's what you get when you become a Genesis driver. Go see him, Airline at Pico, across from Women's Hospital. I say this all the time. Most of you listening have never gotten behind the wheel of a Genesis. Most of you listening have never set foot on the dealership at Genesis in Baton Rouge. Change that. Just see. No obligation. Once you get behind the wheel, it's not get in, you buy it. But you'll see the difference. You'll understand working with their fantastic staff what that all means. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge, and you can find it all at the website, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like Vans customized.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping things up here, the PGA Tour is the RBC Heritage this week in Harbortown, Hilton Head. And the winner every year gets to design their own burger. Looks like Scotty's going with applewood smoked bacon, crispy onion straws, and fried jalapenos on a burger with a brioche bun. I'm going to leave that. I don't need onion rings or fried jalapenos on my burger. But to each his own. If Scotty wants to enjoy that, more power to him. Just not going to be... When I win the RBC Heritage, which I don't think I will, I've played the course from the up tees and shot 80, so that's probably not going to win a PGA Tour event. You do that 4 times. You actually only get to do it 2 before you get cut, so I don't think we'll have to worry about designing a burger for me, but they have Scotty's all handled there, and I just saw that on the old Twitter feed. Got one thing left to do here. Let's play Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it. All right, Nico Harrison met with the media today, and he says he has no regrets about trading Luka Doncic. Do we believe Nico Harrison? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think I do. I believe he has no regrets. I think he thought that was the right thing to do, and I think he's wrong about that. I think that's when you get one of those dudes in the NBA, you can't let one of those dudes go, especially not for, well, we think he's a little bit lazy. Like, I don't think so. The statistics don't say he's lazy. The success of the team doesn't say he's lazy. Is he chiseled out of stone? No. Is he probably going to play as long as LeBron? No. Is he a top 5 player in the league? Yeah. Shouldn't have done that.
The Saints should trade for Jalen Ramsey. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. That sounds like an atrocious idea. The Saints need to keep their assets to get young, cheap players. Jalen Ramsey is old by his position standard and very expensive. So that sounds like an awful idea. That sounds like an idea for a team that's on the verge of contending. The Saints are not on the verge of contending, so they should not even consider that. I know the Dolphins put him kind of on the trading block today. Saints need to stay far away from that.
Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders will both have their Colorado jerseys retired this Saturday as part of the football team's spring game festivities. Hunter and Sanders' names retired in the stadium. Take it or leave it.
I will leave that big time. And that, I will tell you, is off of instinct. Travis Hunter should absolutely have his number retired. Shedeur Sanders, let me look at his statistics. 2 years there, threw for 7,300 yards and 64 touchdowns. That's good. He was not an All-American, I don't think. Like that, I mean, how many times do you have a guy's number retired that isn't? Maybe he set some school records that I'm not aware of. I'd have to look into that. Again, I said this is kind of off instinct. And like, yeah, throwing for 64 touchdowns is a lot. So I don't think it's egregious, but the Heisman winner, yeah, retires jersey. Shedeur just seemed like a good quarterback to me. But you know, it's no sweat off my back. I don't know that Colorado is going to have a guy that's going to be a first-round pick at quarterback anytime soon. So, again, I don't have a strong amount of conviction on this take. I just think I would probably not do it. Did you have a take on that in the morning show?
No, I didn't do it in the morning. I mean, you kind of know how I feel about Deion Sanders and that gang. I'm gonna leave it. Like Travis Hunter, sure, but Shedeur Sanders, like you mentioned, like Colorado's won a national championship.
Yeah.
They have players from that team that have brought a title back to Boulder. I mean, because I heard some people say, "Oh, well, they had a great season." Like, okay, I mean, they went like 9-4. Like, that's fine. Like, it's better than what they were doing. But yeah, no, I'm leaving that.
That all we got today?
That's all we got.
Awesome. All right. Briefly on LSU McNeese before we get out of here. They'll play at 6:30 tonight, so about 3.5 hours from right now. McNeese is a good team, and this is not your standard Louisiana midweek game from a metrics perspective. It's your standard Louisiana midweek game from the perspective of LSU's got the better team. They should win the game. But McNeese has beaten Houston. They beat Louisiana Lafayette twice in the midweek. They are off to the best start in McNeese history, and they have something to play for tonight because they are very much trying to get an at-large. We have seen Southeastern Louisiana get snubbed for an at-large multiple times in the last 10, 12 years. It's hard to get an at-large bid from the Southland. And if you're going to get one, it's going to be helpful if you can take down an LSU team that we figure, let's just be conservative, is going to be a top 15 RPI team at the end of it. We all certainly hope that they're a top 8 RPI team and can get a top 8 national seed, but I feel like it's, conservatively at least, will be a top 20 RPI team. And if McNeese can put that feather in their cap, it's a big win for them. So they got a lot to play for. It's a good team. LSU's going to have to play better than they did last week in Nichols and last weekend in Auburn. They've got to play better. Got to get the bats going. And how about this? The ball needs to leave the yard. I get that it's tough to hit home runs in Norman, Oklahoma when it's 30 degrees and the wind's blowing in. And so you only hit 3 that weekend. You only hit 1 this past weekend. You did not hit 1 in Thibodaux. Like, somebody needs to run into 1 here. I'm not saying that everybody needs to go up there trying to hit home runs, but I'm just suggesting as a key to the game, maybe run 2 or 3 balls out of the yard. That's something that LSU has done a lot of in the midweek this year. Jerry Jones has 7 of them. I'd like to see a little bit of that tonight. We'll react to it all coming up tomorrow. I've got a preview up at LouisianaSports.net if you'd like to check that out. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. Thanks to Glenn West for jumping aboard. Thanks to Sharif Ishak. Little LSU football practice report was included in today's show as well. Tomorrow, we'll have Koki Riley. We do SEC baseball power rankings, so fired up for all of that. Everybody has a wonderful, safe Tuesday evening. Hope to see you tonight at Pizza by Rones for trivia. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR next. We're back tomorrow on the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.